Hey everyone, Pastor Mike here, and I have an amazing list of questions that people sent me at our most recent question and answer Sunday. Here's today's question. Is there a rapture before the end of the world as stated in 1 Thessalonians 4 verses 14 to 18? I bet that's your question too. Did you wake up this morning thinking about the rapture? Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the lingo, the term rapture is this idea that became really popular in the past generation or so, especially because of a series of uber popular books called the Left Behind series. And if I understand it correctly, the premise of the rapture is that one day, all of the Christians who are on earth, boom, they're just going to disappear. Like zapped right up to be with Jesus in heaven, and all these crazy events of the end times start to happen. Now, is that what we find in the scriptures? Well, let's jump into that passage that was referenced by our questioner, 1 Thessalonians 4. It says this: According to the Lord's word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will certainly not precede those who have fallen asleep, those who died. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever. Now, you can't capture it here, but in the original Latin translation of the Bible from the early centuries, it was called the Vulgate, the phrase caught up together is the word rapiemur, and that's where we get the word rapture. So there's this idea that Christians are going to be caught up in the air to be with Jesus. But in my mind, the question is exactly when is that going to happen? Is that going to happen on some Tuesday, all the Christians disappear and the world keeps going? I think there are some clues that something different is happening here. We find out that when this, quote, rapture happens, when we're caught up to be with Jesus, there's this loud call from heaven. There's the voice of the archangel. There's a trumpet that's being sounded. The dead in Christ, those who passed away, they're physically resurrected from the grave, which in the Bible are all clues of one big massive event, Judgment Day. So do I think Christians will just disappear one day as the world goes on? I actually don't. I think the moment when we're raptured, when we're caught up in the air to be with Jesus, is the last day of human history. And I know that sounds kind of technical, but I got to tell you, it makes me so happy to think about, because Paul ended the discussion like this: and so we will be with the Lord forever. When that moment comes, and it could happen today or tomorrow, God's people are going to be with God. We're going to see his face. We're going to see something so much better, more beautiful, more powerful than anything in this world had to offer. So we long for the day when 1 Thessalonians 4 comes true. We long for the dead to be raised, to hear the voice of God, and to see his face. Paul says in verse 18, therefore, encourage one another with these words. So I want to encourage you, no matter how messy your life is, if you're being persecuted like the Thessalonians were, Jesus is coming back and you're going to be with him forever. That's what the real rapture is all about.